Let me quickly go through this. So I believe, let me try again. Yep. So we, last session we started with Java OOPS concept, and then we have seen what is object, class, the naming convention. We have seen then in detail about the object, how we can create the instance uh, of a class. And then in the class, we can have different field methods, constructor, blocks, and nested class and all. Likewise, we have seen how we can use the new keyword for creating an object, and where this stack and heap memory will be there, and what is going to happen, when we are going to initialize object. And there are three ways of initializing the object, and then we have seen object creation by this 5 methods, and we have seen the constructor, default constructor, and on the basis of that different example, and difference between constructor and method we have seen. And then the finally we have seen the use of static keyword. So these were a few examples which we have seen. I will be opening my Eclipse. Okay. So right now what I will be doing is I will be opening my Eclipse. So here you can see the last time we have stored our folder that is inside document core Java training. So you can see in the Sagar Ghate user profile, there is a folder known as document, and here this core-java training will be there. And if I go inside this and see, you can see there are two projects which we created last time. The first project which we created was Hello World, and the second project which we created was Day2 Java. So in the Day2 Java, all our .java classes which I imported is stored here in our src folder, which was the default folder. We have not created any package. And then you can see automatically this bin folder is also created. And in this bin folder, all those classes will be there which we executed. So the moment we will say Java C command, when we are going to execute it, it is going to create corresponding class in this bin folder. And bin is nothing but a binary folder which is executable. So let me quickly open my Eclipse. So I'm clicking on launch. Every time whenever you are going to open your Eclipse, this is going to ask you, sometimes when you want to change this, you can change also, or if you don't want Eclipse to ask, you can click on this checkbox. Next time it is not going to ask you. Well, I'm clicking it unchecked only. I believe there are 4 to 5 programs which were pending for us to execute from this. So let us complete those. Okay. So this is one program where we are going to see when the memory is going to be allocated or created. So let me quickly resolve the errors. So this is my no argument constructor. This is the same class which we have created, and what we are doing is we have created three objects, C1, C2 and C3. We are just creating object, and after creation of the object, what is going to happen, we are not doing any operation on this object C1, C2, C3. That's the reason you can see this yellow mark is there, which is saying the value of this local variable C1 is not used. So whenever you are going to create any variable and whose value is not used, or all the unused variable, at least your this IDE, Eclipse is going to say you that, hey boss, this is not created, and maybe you need to comment it out, or you can put it to do, or it will be unused code for us. So something like that, Eclipse is going to give us warning. So it is a little warning for us. Anyway, we will ignore it. Intentionally we have created, because the moment we are going to create this C1, C2 or C3, 3 times it is going to call this constructor. Now, when it is going to call the constructor 3 times, uh, can you tell me what will be the output of this program on the comment box? Try guessing. Okay, Jairaj is saying 3. Any other option? Sorry, any other different answer? Lakshmi is also saying 3. Okay, let us run this. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to save this file, going to close others. Okay, proceed. 1 1 1, and then we were guessing 3 3 3. 0 1 2. Anusha, okay, one more answer. Changed answer 1 2 3. Okay, let us see why it is doing so. If you see this particular count, you may think as, okay, this count is not local variable. This count seems to be kind of global variable, and that is the reason you guys were thinking, okay, it should be 1 2 3. Correct? But the moment you are going to uh, just imagine, earlier we have created student 1 2 3. So for student 1, the, say suppose if it is even, if it is ID, if it is student ID, so for C1 student ID will be different, for C2 student ID will be different, for C3 student ID will be different. Agreed? Yes. And in the same fashion, it is just one variable. So C1 corresponding to C1, and this is not static variable. Say suppose if it is static variable, then story might be little different. But since this, all those variable inside class are uh, are non-static variable. Okay, if the static is not explicitly defined there. So corresponding to C1, when it is going to execute, okay, let us try to put a debugger, and okay, we never debug anything as of now. So debug as Java application, and it is saying it's having some error. Do you want to launch? I said yes. And then it is saying this is Java perspective. And if I'm going to run it in the debug mode, it is asking me, do you want to switch the perspective now? I am saying yes. So the first time when you can see the value of count, it is 0. And if I am going to execute it, so count is still 0. Mm, okay, can you see here this button? So the moment I was on this line, count was 0. And when we executed this line, the value of this count got 1. And if I'm going to click here, once again for C2, it went and the count becomes 0. And if I'm going to press it here, again, the counts value got 1 here. Now, third time when I come here for C3, again, the count is 0. And it become 1 and we printed it out. And then the control come back. So for 3 times, this counter got executed. We have put to the debugger point here. And we have seen that every time, whenever this particular object is created, for that object count is 0. And this got executed. And then for the next object creation, again, this will be reset to 0. And that is the reason in the comments I have written, will get memory when the instance is created. So when the instance is not created, this count is not going to get memory. And once we are going to create C1, C2, C3, the memory will be created. And then when this object is no more needed and going to be garbage collected, that time this memory is also going to be released for that particular instant. Fine, so let us come back to the Java perspective. So here you can see debug is written, so debug perspective is there. I will click here. So this is my project explorer once again. Opening it, we will be moving to next program. I will close all those things, expression and all. Let's go to C17. Now here, yes. Now the difference here is static. The moment we put here static, which means now this instance is at class level, not at the object level. Now this time, what will be the output? Can you comment on the chat box? So the difference between previous program and this program is just this keyword static. So who is ready with the answer? No reply so far. 000. Okay. uh, any other guess? 1, 2, 3. Manas. Yeah, great. Any other guess? Fine. So let us execute this. I just added one debugger point here. And since it's not used, it's not adding. But let us run this. Debug as Java application. Proceed. So now you can see line number 11. From line number 11 it goes there. And if I see the value, the count is 0. If I simply mouse over, it will give me the value. If I go, now I can see the value of count is 1. And when the value of count is 1, so 1 got printed. Again, so next line is this one. Still, if we see value is 1 here at this moment. Okay, let's go inside the constructor. Value is still 1. And if I goes there, value becomes 2. Why value becomes 2? Because now this count is not associated with C1, C2 or C3. This count variable, which is static variable, is now associated with class at class level. Now in real sense, we can say this is acting as a global variable. So now it's simple. Now 2 is going to be printed. Now for third object creation, that is C3. If I go here, first value is 2. After execution of this statement, when the statement got executed, the value of count becomes 3. And then here also it is 3. If I'm going to execute this, so 1, 2, 3 is the correct answer. Yeah, well done, Manas. Okay, so we are done with this program. Let's move to another one, which is this one. Program of changing common property of all the objects, that is static field. Okay, so here earlier we were having student class and then roll number and string, roll number and name was there, integer and string. And then we are having a static college because college name is not going to change. And then we are saying change college to BBDIT, something like that. Okay. So what is going to be our output? Let us see. Well, before executing, our control will start from here. What I am saying is we have created, we have not created anything. This is my class dot a function. If there is any static function, we need not to create object. Okay, without creating object, you can access all the static function. So this function change is a static function. That's why I have not created any object of student class and directly I am calling this. And after calling this, if I am creating the student 1, students 2 and students 3 and going to display S1, S2, S3 with Karan, Aryan and Sonu as roll number 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3 is fine. But what is going to happen with this string college? Any guess? What should be the output? Can you please type on the comment box? What do you think? Yeah, I'm waiting. Anyone answers? So earlier we have done this program is just we introduced this static function and we are calling directly the static function which is trying to change the value of this college name. Okay, let us run and see. ITS is what Shushmita is saying. And then when we executed, we got BBIT. Okay, Nitin, BBIT, Lakshmi also BBIT. So what happened when we executed this program? In the first line itself, because now see, the moment I say static, which means this is at class level. This is at class level. So value of this is first ITS. Now, when we executed this statement, this is the first statement executed after our main. The value of college becomes BBIT. And again, this is not local variable. This is, if say suppose if I define some string here, now story can be different. But this is, and again, it has to be static if I want to use it. If I want to use it for a for class level, and if I do something like that, string college equal to BIT, or say suppose if we remove this keyword and going to execute it, say suppose if we resolve all this error of whatever is coming, then for each student it will be it will be different. For each object it will be different. But now we are very sure now our college only got changed to BBDIT. Okay, stop me if you are having any doubt. Okay, I will be moving to next program, and this is once again how to use static keyword. And here also, say suppose I'm having calculate class, and I have not created any object of calculate class. Directly calculate dot cube when I'm doing. So this function we are passing one parameter here, return type is int, and it is static. Once it is static, then I can call it directly. So I have not created any class. This class 19 can be any of these classes which are there. Okay, and since it's main class also, I can call directly like this. And if I'm going to execute this, answer is simple, 555, that is 125. Okay, the last program which we are having is when the static block is invoked. Yes. Now this thing, so you can see for any class, if you are writing a keyword static and you are writing and you are putting anything in the curly braces, this entire 4, 5, 6 lines are known as static block. Okay. See here, this is not function. This 3 lines, this 3, 4 lines are not function, because what is definition of function? We know function will be something like this. We'll be having some argument, maybe having some return type, and some access modifier as public, private, and all. May or may not be, but at least it should have some argument and some return type. And this is just a block. Which kind of block? Static block. So when you will be having a static block, when static block is going to execute, that is very important. I am going to put two debugger here and going to debug this. So this is, you can see debug icon. So my control goes here first. It printed static block is invoked, and then it started executing your main method. Okay, so earlier what we have seen, before this program, whenever we try to execute our function, always main method used to call first, and then our control used to go somewhere wherever we are calling. But in case of static block, whenever your main class is going to main method is going to load into the memory, before that this static blocks are going to be executed. Say suppose if you are having different static blocks, so those different static blocks will execute, and then the normal sequence of your main program will go. And that's how we have seen in our debugging mode also. Okay, so I think we are good here with the pending programs which we had from the previous session. For today, we may create another project. So I am saying new project and Java project. Likewise, you can always create a different project, day 3, and Java 1.8 it is using, and I'm saying it as finished. Okay, open perspective. So this perspective is open, and I don't want to deal with day 2, so I am going to close this project. So now only day 3 is there, and by default SRC folder is there. Fine, let's go back to our content, what we are having today. So I am going for the slides for today. Okay, so the following topics or the keywords which we are going to see and learn today is the use of this keyword, inheritance relationship, that is a relationship, and aggregation, we call it as has a relationship, and method overloading, method overriding, all these are OOPS concept, and covariant return type. You may not be using covariant return type very frequent, but just for understanding, I have written it here. So the moment we say this is nothing but a reference variable which refers to the state and behavior of the object. So in Java, there are several uses of this keyword. One of the prime use is whenever you want to refer the current class instance variable. Current class instance variable, say suppose employee is there, E1, E2, E3. When you want to say suppose refer E1, E2, E3, all those instance variable, you can use this keyword. Second thing is when you want to invoke current class method implicitly. Implicitly means automatically when you want to invoke the method, that time also we are going to use this. And this you can see this function like this can be invoked in your current class constructor. So we will be seeing by default there are some mandatory statements which our compiler is going to add in our constructor. One of them is this. Either it has to has this or super. Don't worry about super at this moment, but the third utilization of this is for invoking any current class constructor. For this, you can pass this as an argument in the method call. When you are going to pass this, which means it is going to pass whatever current instance variable will be at that time. And you can pass this as a constructor call also. And finally, this can be used to return current class instance from the method. When your class is going, whatever instances at that particular time, either E1, E2, E3, that you can return from this keyword. So whenever we are going to execute our program in debug mode, there you have seen either the control will be with E1, E2, or E3. Correct? That's the reason when I will say E1.name or E2.id, we will be getting different value. So in detail, we will be seeing it in the program. Need not to worry at this moment. Say suppose this is your normal program. The moment you are going to compile, your compiler automatically is going to add this keyword, this .m. So here what we have done, we have created an object that is anonymous object. This new of a will create anonymous object, and with the help of this anonymous object, we want to access one function which is nothing but function n. Now here, when the compiler is going to compile code, what it will do for his understanding, in your dot class, when you open, if you open and see, there you can see this dot m, which means it is saying whatever is the current instance of the object, I want to call that object, means this dot, instead of m, it will be this dot m. So this is how your compiler behaves, and it will do. So mind this line, if you do not use this keyword, compiler automatically adds this keyword while invoking the method. If you are going to use this dot m, compiler is not going to add this. If you are not adding this keyword, compiler is going to add for us. Now, second is a relationship, that is inheritance. So here we are having three kind of inheritance in Java. First is single inheritance, that is from class B, we can have a class A. You are having multi-level inheritance, that is from class C, you can have class B and class A. Hierarchical inheritance, hybrid inheritance, and multiple inheritance. Is it supported in Java? Answers? No. Lakshmi is saying no. She's saying no. Okay. So time being, let's assume at least single inheritance and the multi-level inheritance is possible in Java. We will think of hierarchical, multiple, or hybrid inheritance. Okay, so these are the types of inheritance normally in the OOPS concept. Maybe in C, you might have seen this. And for using inheritance, this is the new keyword which you are seeing, extends. So syntax is your class and the subclass name, which means the child class name will come here, extends superclass. So this class, say suppose I can say car extends automobile. I can say class students extends person. So superclass, we are going to write after extends keyword, and the child class we will be writing before. Or you can say normally we can write our class like this, a syntax, if you just omit extends superclass name. And if I want to inherit any class, I just need to add this extend keyword. And then you are having another relationship that is known as aggregation, that is has a relationship. What is has a relationship? So employee has a name, employee has an ID, employee has an address. So employee has uh, some uh, some some properties, some behavior. Okay, that employee class and the object of that. In turn, this address can be an address class. So now the relation between this employee class and address class is has a relationship. But when I say employee and a person can be anyone. And when that person is having some specific characters, that person can become employee. Okay. So I cannot say person has an employee. Person is an employee. Okay. Another example is dog is an animal and dog has nails. Dog has jaw, something like that. So whatever you possess, that is known as has a relationship. So in this class, employee and address is going to be has. Okay, let's move further. If we understand the concept, difference between method overloading and there is a type promotion also. Mm, byte, short, int, long is there, and the memory of byte will be small, then short will be having more than int and long. So byte can be converted into short, short into int can be converted in the long. Likewise, char can be converted into int can be converted into float. Int can be converted into double, int can be converted into float. Float can be converted into double, and long can be converted into double. So you can see the arrow, but this is automatically, it may happen. But if you want to convert double into float or long into short, long into int, or say suppose float into integer or integer into short or int into character, uh, that is not possible. That is possible by doing something that we are going to see later. But type promotion automatically is going to happen in this direction from small to big. Now, when we say we are going to do method overloading, there are two ways of doing that. One is by changing the number of arguments and by changing the data type. So each method will be having a method signature, and that method signature is unique for that method. And if two methods are having same method signature, um, then what is going to happen? Can we have two same method in a function, or your compiler is going to give compile time error? That also we can see. But method overloading, we will be having a same method name, and we'll be having these two variation which will be different. When I say about method overriding, overriding is something different. Overriding is when you're having a method already presented in the parent class, and in your parent class that method was very generic, and you want to add some specialization in the child class. That time in your child class you can override that function. Say suppose I am having a parent class as bank, and bank can be SBI, ICICI, HDFC, and so on. So the bank will be having a normal functionality or function, say suppose get rate of interest, maybe the guideline from RBI. But when you go and come to SBI, ICICI, and Axis, they may in turn have different rate of interest, maybe some different logic. So what these banks can do, this child can override the same uh, method of the parent class. And here there are rules of doing that. 3 conditions. First condition is, so method must have same name as in the parent. If it is get rate of interest, here it should be get rate of interest. If I say get rate of interest A, then it will become different method altogether. Then this is not method overriding. Method must have same parameter as in the parent class. So if it is no parameter, then you don't have any parameter. If there are 2 or 3 parameter, then same parameter. And must be easy relationship, which means method overriding is possible only and only when there is a inheritance. If you don't have inheritance, when there is no child class, no super class, your method overriding is not going to happen. In turn, within the same class, you may have the method overloading. Fine. So this is what we have seen. Covariant return type is one thing where you want to specify that the return type may vary in the same direction as the subclass, which means class B is a subclass and class A is the parent class. And when I'm saying new of this anonymous object B, which means I'm creating an object of child class, and I'm saying get. I'm calling get, and then in turn, I want to call a function that is a message. So when you say get, this get will be a get of this B class or a get of this class A.
B.
So it's of class B. Yes. Why? Because again, we have done here method overriding. So that is the reason it will be of class B. And such type of return types are known as the covariant return type. Well, that was just for the theory. Let's jump on to the programming. So I'm going to import file system, that is Core Java training material, and then day 4, I believe, correct? From this folder, select all, deselect this PPT and this PPT. Sure. Finish. Oh my God, almost every second program is having error. Okay, no problem. So we will go with C01, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Okay, I will clear this. So this particular example we are doing, when we don't have this keyword. So see here, in my main class, I'm having 2 student objects, student 1 and student 2. We don't have any student class in this package or in this folder. So this is new student class. Say suppose if we would be using the same project like day 2 or hello world project, that time this would have given us error. Okay, so I want to create two student objects S1 and S2 and want to pass three argument 1, 2, and 3. That is their roll number, name, and the fees. When I am going to do that, at the time of object creation, this should call. Okay, but we have not written any this here. What I am saying is roll number is roll number equal to roll number, name is name equal to name, fee equal to fee. And and then at least our Eclipse is saying us that this assignment to variable roll number has no effect. Means there is no use of writing this name, this statement itself. If I am going to execute, okay, any guess if I am going to execute, what is the outcome we are going to get? Any guesses? Let me run to save time. Why it is 0 null 0 0? Because the moment you created this object, student object, and you pass roll number as 111, but this is not doing anything. You passed it as 111, and this roll number it is treating as it is your local variable only. It's not instance variable reference. It's what your compiler is thinking. So by default, it will initialize it as 0, and no value has been assigned here, and it is going to print that only. What is going to happen if I comment this out? Control Shift C. If I am going to run this also, same thing, which means when I am going to create my object by using this constructor, the value is not assigning. Now, how to assign value? This we can do with the help of this keyword. So I will leave this program like this only, and this was expected. Let's go to second. Now here in this program, what we are doing is we are saying this dot roll number, this dot name, this dot p. The moment I'm going to put debugger here, say suppose, if I am going to put debugger here, 3 times this constructor is going to call. When the constructor is going to call first time, say suppose for S1, then it will come here S1. So roll number will become 111. So 111 will be coming here, and this the meaning of this will be S1 dot roll number. Okay. Say suppose here if I write S1 dot roll number is 111. This example we have already seen earlier. At that time we were getting the value and it was printing 111 for the roll number of S1. Or when we are going to print the this display object. But in the previous program we have seen the output was this. Now, if I say this dot roll number for S1, it will become S1 dot roll number, S1 dot name, S1 dot fee. And when I'm going to execute S2, it will become S2 dot roll number, S2 dot name, and S2 dot fee. And if we are going to execute this statement, S1 dot display, S2 dot display, it will be 111 Ankit and 5,000 and so on. Okay, for doing that, you need to change this. student 1. Fine. Let me know if you want me to run it in the debug mode. The explanation was simple, but any program, if you feel Sagar, please run in debug mode and show us, then you can do. Well, let's jump to the another function here. Now, what we want to do is, if local variables, that is known as formal argument and the instant variable are different, there is no need to use this keyword like in the following program. Yeah. So in this first program, we have seen these two variables were same. So your compiler was saying, boss, there is no meaning of doing this. But in this program, what we have seen, this is different and this is different. So when you're going to assign it, it is going to execute it. Same program, it's just we have changed this variable and this variable. So all this variable are instance variable only. We know this is not a static variable. Why we say it as instance variable? Because the objects are going to access this members. Okay, let's run student 3, 3, 3, 3 and 3. Let me clear and run here. Okay. Again, if I do n equal to n, same thing happens. See, the programs are very small. It is just for building the concept, building the base. But still, anytime if you feel Sagar, skip this. Okay, it's self-explanatory. I will move it. And this is what we have seen in our slide, like how this can be used to invoke the current class. So I'm having a class A. I've created an object for this class A, and with the help of that object, I'm trying to call this function n. And in this function n, I'm having these many statements. Say suppose this is my function n. So when I'm going to call this n, when it is going to say this dot m means in turn go and means for your understanding, this dot m means a dot m, the object of the current class dot m. And if I'm going to do this, it's going to obtain the result. So first is let's remove this and simply calling m. If I'm going to execute this function, first it is going inside n and it is saying hello n. This is going to be executed. Then this m is called and hello m. But if I am going to add this keyword this, then also you will be having same output, which means whether I am putting this keyword this or not, when you are going to compile it, your compiler is going to add this keyword before calling any method. So for our ease, within the same class, we used to call method directly. Outside the class, we used to call method by taking help of object. Say suppose outside this class A, this method n is inside class A, and and outside class test this CO4. So if I am going to no do like this, I'm going to get error because I cannot call. It's the basic of programming. And for calling this, what I have to do, I will be creating object, and after creation of the object, I'm going to call this. But within the same class, I can directly call. I can do like this. I can directly call them. But your compiler explicitly want to call functions from the instance variable of that object of that particular class or the current class object. So when I am going to do this, let's run and see. See hello n and hello n. So same output you are getting. Okay, moving to next program. Okay, so constructor chaining is the first time now we are hearing this. Now this constructor chaining is very important concept in Java. And what I'm saying is we can use this keyword, something like this. It will be calling our default constructor from parameterized constructor. The meaning of this is this A is my default constructor. What is default constructor? Default constructor is a constructor with no parameters. Whenever I am going to create object something like A of A equal to new of A without passing any parameter, it will be default constructor. When I am going to do like this, okay, let us change the name A1, 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 A1 and A1. So here you are getting warning because what it is saying, boss, you are having this main method. You created this object, but you have not used it. You should use it. Do something. Now, what's going to happen? If I am seeing A1 equal to A equal to new of A1 of 10, out of these two constructor, that is a constructor, default constructor with no argument, and this is a parameterized constructor. If I am going to comment out this statement and I'm going to execute this, according to you, what will be the output? What's going to be the output? Any guesses? If I'm going to execute this, okay. Lakshmi is saying 10. Hello A and 10, Nitin is saying. Hello A and 10, Shivang is also saying. Let's see what I did. I commented out this and I'm executing. Oh, sorry, it's previous program output only. Let's close others. It's 10. Now, why this is not called? Because when I executed this, how our control goes? From here, it is going to go into this particular constructor and going to execute this statement. Automatically, your compiler has not added this statement. Okay, why it has not added this statement? Because you are not calling any function. But when you say this of this, it means it is going to call default constructor wherever it is. And inside your default constructor, by default, compiler is going to add this statement. This statement or super statement. Super statement will be seen later. And this is how the your constructor chaining will be invoked. If I am going to run this program, so now output will be, first it came here and it called this, which means the control goes to default constructor, hello A got printed, then your control came back and whatever you passed 10, the 10 got passed here and the output is hello A and 10. So whenever you want to call a default constructor from parameterized constructor, that time you can use this as this function. Okay. Moving to the next program. Here, what we are trying, again calling the parameterized constructor from the default constructor. Here we are passing earlier what we have done from parameterized constructor we call default constructor. Now this is my default constructor here and this is my parameterized constructor. Okay, quickly, what is going to be the output? What is going to be output? The moment this statement is going to be executed, it will go and going to create object for default constructor, which means out of this two, we are having two constructor. Out of these two constructor, our control will come to default constructor. And here in the default constructor, what it is doing is, it is saying first you go and invoke this constructor, that is parameterized constructor. So your control will come here. What is the value which you have passed? 5. So it is going to print 5 and then it is going to print hello A. Okay, straightforward. So what we are doing here is, see, constructor after constructor we are calling, that is known as constructor chaining. I have just created one object and you know, if I'm creating one object, only one constructor is going to be called. 5 hello A, okay. Lakshmi Shivankya, correct. So in this program, if there is just one object creation, ideally one constructor should be called. But now we can see these two constructors are called. Why? Because within the constructor, if we want to call another constructor, whether parameterized or non-parameterized, we can do by using of this keyword. Let's move to next one. Constructor call should be used to reuse the constructor. It maintains the chain between constructor, that is, it is called constructor chaining, same concept. Now here we are having two object S1 and S2 and 1, 2, 3 parameter, 1, 2, 3, 4 parameter. So S1 is going to call this one, that is 3 parameter, and S2 is going to call this one, that is 4 parameter. Okay, and basically we are executing this function only to understand this. Oh, so we are having student what, student 3? No, student 3 is not available. Student 4, same thing. replace all and remove 1 3 from here. Oh, what? Student 3 is already there somewhere. No problem. Okay, fine. So here what I want you to understand is, see, I'm having two objects, S1 and S2. And in the constructor chaining, what I am doing is, for S1, I have created this, no roll number, name, and course. For S2, what I am saying is, again, the same statement I have to write here if I want to do. Instead of doing this same statement, what I can do, I will say this of roll number, name, and course, which means you go invoke this constructor and corresponding to S2, assign roll number equal to roll number, where this will become S2 now. Okay, in your debug mode, when the control will be with S2, then this is going to become S2. Then S2 dot roll number is the second person one, S2 dot name, S2 dot course. And once roll number, name, and course got assigned, then from your first constructor, it is going, the control will come back to your second constructor and going to just assign fee. So this is beauty of using this statement where we have reuse the constructor. Any doubt in understanding? In case you want me to debug, I can do that. And after executing this program, this is what we were expecting. Roll number, name. This guy was not having fee. So by default, fee is 0.0. Your constructor has, your compiler has assigned this default value for float. Okay. Hope the use of this is now more clear to you. Rule, call to this must be first statement in constructor. Yeah, this is very important. This is your constructor, and this is also your constructor. In the previous program, what we have done is we have just switched the statement. Here you can see error. Constructor call must be the first statement in a constructor. See here, your Eclipse itself is saying, and it is compile time error. You need not to run it also. Okay, that is what we want to show from this program. If we are not going to correct it also, that's fine. But let me do this quickly. Student change to student 5. Replace all. See, all error goes away, but this error is still there. Okay, and the error is this. If I'm going to run this also, it will say there is an error. And after running this, here you can see the statement, exception in thread, Java lang error, unresolved compilation problem. We have not resolved it. And there explicitly it is giving us the statement, constructor call must be the first statement in the constructor. How the constructor is going to be called? Constructor is going to call by using this function without parameter or with parameter. So see, don't confuse with this keyword. Okay. When we say constructor call, it should be something like this. I can do this. Okay. It should be something like this. since I don't have any default constructor, the constructor student flag is undefined because I'm not having that. That's the reason it is giving me this error. So I mean to say by this kind of functional brackets. The meaning of this dot phi is nothing but s1 dot phi, s2 dot phi, s3 dot phi. Okay, well, we'll be moving to next program. This error we will keep as it is. Now fourth, it is saying this keyword can also be passed as an argument in the method. It is mainly used in event handling, and this to pass an argument in the method. Event handling, yeah, event handling is not required as of now, but when you are going to do or learn the Swing or applet, that time we can have the event handling. Well, if I am going to execute this, so what we have done here is for this class S2, we have created object, okay, as S1, and from this S1, okay, this is a type object. Your error got resolved. Now from this S1, I am trying to call this P function. And what this is doing is, from this, it is I'm passing this keyword. So this, what is the meaning of this? The meaning of this is the current object, which means I can pass the current object in the method M. So the signature of method M should be of type class, and I can pass the object of that. So your obj will be nothing but the method which you are passing. If I'm going to execute this statement, you are getting method is invoked. Let's do one thing. Sys control space. Not working for me. Problem. I just want to see if I do this, what I am going to get. So you can see the object, it is displaying the object here, and from this object, can I get something else? Object dot object dot wait dot get class. So see what I am trying to print. What is the class of this particular object which I am passing? So you can see C09S2, C09S2, that is class C09S2 what printed, which means with in the method I can pass this as the object itself, the current object, whatever is there. Okay, so many utilization of this we have seen so far. Let's move to the next program. This to pass as argument in the constructor call. That also we can do. You can see here, this is the constructor call. And if I'm going to pass this, which means whatever is the current object, just pass the current object there. For your understanding, let me like this error A4. This is class A4. Okay, this is class A4. I'm creating all the classes in the same file. Ideally, we should have a different files for different class. So class A, class B is there, and inside class A itself, we are having main method. So now you can see, okay, I think we are at 5:34 p.m. We'll go for 5 more minutes. So I created this object in the main method. What I am doing, I just created object. I am not doing anything else. The moment this object is created, what it will do, it will go and search for default constructor. Where is default constructor of A? This is default constructor of A. It comes here. And then it is saying B equal to B of new B. Now, okay. Now, B is different class. Inside my default constructor, I am trying to create object of class B, and I want to pass this. What is the meaning of this? I want to pass A. What is the current object which is being created now? The object A. This small object is being created. The instance variable is created. So while creating B, I need to see what is the one argument constructor in B class. Yeah, I can see one argument constructor in B class, and the type of that is obj. And when I say this dot obj, now this is what is. This is B this. Sorry, there are so many this. So when I am calling this first, here it is saying, okay, it's not used. The this which you are passing here is A, the current object. And when you say this, which is B object, okay, whatever has been executed at the current space. And when I say obj dot, oh, let me execute to check my understanding. You are getting obj dot 10. That is, you pass this object as object of class A, where the data or the variable was 10, and it got printed as 10. Well, I believe let us execute this in the debug mode once to have a better understanding. Let me right click, run as, debug as Java application. Yes. So this is my first statement. Control goes here. And if I say this, now this is a class A4. And see here, the value of this is C10A4, our this class. Now I goes here to object. Now object is of this, obviously the class A4, and this is class B. That's what I was explaining. Okay. Here this was of class A. Now the value of this upgraded to class B object. And then going to next statement still, and here the value of this is class A. And when I'm going to do display, Your obj is the class A's object, and obj dot data you are getting it as 10. Okay, so that was that was the program which we have done, and that is the output. Okay, fine. I believe for today, till program 10 we have done. Remaining programs we can see on Friday when we are going to meet.